He was betrayed. They stole his life and future, his trust. But what they didn't know was that fate will give him a second chance. Qin Feing spent his entire life protecting his sister, fighting in a world where a deadly game ruled over reality. But in the end, she betrayed him, watched as he was cut down, all for power. His so-called friend mocked him, taking everything he had worked for. But fate is cruel and kind, because the next time he opened his eyes, he was back, 9 years before his death. This time, he won't be a fool or a pawn. He won't hesitate. With the knowledge of the future, he will carve a new path, and at the end of it, sweet revenge and retribution. On a stormy night, rain poured heavily over the ancient ruins. The atmosphere was filled with an eerie tension, as lightning illuminated the crumbling structures and thunder roared in the distance. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure emerged. She is visible through the downpour. A woman approached, her blade stained with blood, calling out to our hero, Qin Feing. Her voice dripping with both admiration and contempt. She noted that he was truly remarkable, even under the handicap of continuous aging. Despite his condition, he had managed to clear the ruins and obtain an artifact known as the Eye of Judgment. However, the injured Qin Feing wasn't interested in the praise. He is more concerned about why she had betrayed him. Calling her name, Qin Xiao, he reminded her that they were family. But she scoffed, holding the artifact and coldly stating that her parents had only taken him in from the streets. They shared no blood. Her words like a blade that could cut deep. Before he could respond, another figure steps in the scene, advising her that this was no way to speak to her only family, his tone dripping with fake concern. From her expression, it was clear they shared a close relationship. The man, Song Fei, held her close and thanked him. Without him, obtaining the Eye of Judgment would have been impossible. To completely drain Qin Feing's lifespan, he had gone to great lengths to acquire the soul-stealing blade, but it was worth it. When asked if he had any last words, Qin Feing, his face filled with despair, suffering from the draining effect, reminded his sister of how he had taken care of her after their parents died. He had risked his life countless times since the game descended into the real world to save her, something he now deeply regretted. But she showed no sympathy, pointing out that he had continuously bossed her around and pestered her life. She added that she had only kept him around because he was useful, but now that they had the divine artifact, he was completely worthless. Song Fei was already midair, about to deliver the finishing blow, adding that he would take good care of Qin Xiao. However, Qin Feing swore that even in death, he would never forget this. If given a chance at rebirth, he would make them pay. And then, his head was severed from his body. In the year 2025, a game called the Godforsaken descended upon Earth. This game required no console or controller. As long as you fell asleep, you would be forcibly pulled into the game. The only currency that mattered in the game was lifespan. If you died, you lost lifespan. Winning and progressing in the game by killing monsters granted you more lifespan. Fortunately, this lifespan could be traded, and players used this system to bring their in-game abilities and stats into the real world. Imagine people tearing down tanks, nuclear bombs becoming toothpicks, and individuals turning atomic. The result? The world fell into chaos. Throughout all of this, Qin Feing had done everything in his power to protect his little sister. Despite the dangers, he had finally conquered the ancient god's ruins and obtained the divine artifact, the Eye of Judgment. But his reward for success was betrayal at the hands of the one he trusted most. His entire life's effort had been spent trying to protect someone else, but he refused to accept this fate. He swore that if he were to live again, he would fight for himself. His desire for revenge and his resolve burned deep as he drifted into a deep sleep. Qin Feing woke up abruptly. He was surprised. It was the real world. Something was wrong. It was 2025, and he was not dead. The realization hit him like truckun. He had been reborn 9 years before his death. Before he could process this, the scene transitioned to his little sister, Qin Xiao, kicked the door open abruptly, her face filled with clear annoyance. She wasted no time yelling at him for being at home, and yet not answering her call. Frustrated, she trashed the room, ranting about why he wouldn't support Song Fei, the very man who would one day betray him. However, Qin Feing was not surprised. Most of their past arguments had been about that damned guy. She continued her rant about supporting Song Fei, who seemed to be her idol. But mentally, Qin Feing scoffed, knowing the truth. Song Fei was nothing more than a fool who depended on the support of useless girls, tricking them into believing in him. A total scumbag. In his past life, He had only tried to prevent her from being used. But seeing no response from him, Qin Xiao pointed at him angrily, demanding to know if he was deaf. She added that she needed money to support her idol. Qin Feing had had enough. He slapped her across the face. She was momentarily stunned, falling to the ground, landing on her butt. With teary eyes shaken, she stammered, asking if he had really hit her. Our hero had now turned Sigma. Qin Feing stared at her coldly, emitting an ominous aura. He warned her that he had neither the time nor the patience to argue with her. Most importantly, the money she spoke of belonged to their deceased parents, and he had not touched a single cent. Today, he was handing everything over to her. He tossed a gold card onto her head. With this, Qin Feing made it clear he had only tolerated her for their parents' sake. And one last thing. From now on, she was dead to him. He shut the door, leaving her in tears and bewildered. In his past life, Qin Feing had done everything in his power to protect her. He had missed countless opportunities, so many unexplored dungeons, so many hidden rewards left untouched. But now, he was curious. How far could he go without these restraints? With that, he gulped down the sleeping pills, determined to use his knowledge of the game to his advantage. From now on, he was on his own, and as for that scumbag Song Fei, he would personally end him. As he logged into the game, he arrived at the starting point, the career or class selection lobby. Qin Feing felt a wave of nostalgia. He remembered the first time he had arrived. Back then, he had been so nervous that he spent hours deciding on a class. But this time, he would not hesitate. There was no tutorial. All that was needed was to pick a class. In his past life, he had chosen the warrior class to protect his sister. Logically, it had been the better choice. But now, he wanted quick progress. In the Godforsaken, the most important things were agility and reaction time, especially in the early stages. This time, he chose the assassin class. But then something strange happened. A system panel informed him that the divine artifact, the Eye of Judgment from his past life, had successfully bound to him. Qin Feing was as surprised as we were by this development. The system informed him about the unique attributes of the artifact called the Authority of Judgment, and its passive effect. Upon entering the game, Qin Feing would be able to awaken a hidden profession. He expressed excitement, noting that the artifact recognized him as the owner despite being stolen in his past life. Suddenly, dark misty energy engulfed him. The system congratulated him for awakening his hidden profession. For his hidden profession, Qin Feing's appearance changed, mainly his hair color, as the system announced he was now a shadow assassin, something straight out of Solo Leveling. Enveloped in shadows, our protagonist noted that it was a top-tier class and a hidden profession for an assassin, completely different from his previous profession. It seemed fate and destiny were on his side this time. He was curious because awakening a hidden profession was rare, not to mention a top-tier one. Noting it was the artifact's doing, he wondered about the artifact's properties. The system, as if it heard his thoughts, explained the artifact's passive authority of judgment. Its source was ancient, a primordial authority of the universe. It granted him the power to surpass the rules and order. He couldn't access it fully since he wasn't at a divine level, but the passive effect was in place. Qin Feing was surprised. In his previous life, it was around the 7th year that a top player discovered the Realm of Order after leaving the gods' abandoned realm of the game before people learned of its existence. But still, no one was able to obtain the power after that time. With this in mind, Qin Feing explained his goal. Using the passive effect of the artifact, he planned to get into the Realm of Order and obtain divinity to fully activate the artifact's skills. With class selection done, the system asked Qin Feing to enter his in-game name. He paused for a moment but decided on a name that suited his profession as an assassin, Shadow. The system informed him he was entering the gods' abandoned realm, the beginning stage of the game, and warned about monsters lurking in the game. Dying in the game would cost him his lifespan, both tradable and non-tradable. Killing monsters would also give him lifespan, experience, and rewards. He was currently in Shell Village, a safe zone for players, free of monsters, where players couldn't attack each other. As Qin Feing walked, he noticed many people had been pulled into the game, their faces filled with confusion and fear as they murmured among themselves, trying to make sense of their sudden predicament. Despite the chaotic chatter around him, Qin Feing paid no attention to the people staring at him. His focus was unwavering. He knew he was an assassin but appeared different from the others. Soon, powerful players would join the game, bending the rules of this world to their will, so he didn't plan on wasting any time. Just then, he noticed a group of players huddled together, complaining loudly. He understood that they had just respawned after dying in the game. Their voices were filled with frustration as they lamented the wild beasts that were too strong for beginners. One of them realized his lifespan was nearly halved, a grim reminder of the game's harsh reality. Their attention soon shifted to a blonde girl who seemed to be their leader. Despite their concern, she paid no heed to them, her eyes instead fixed on Qin Feing. She seemed somewhat charmed by his appearance, while he noticed her impressive bow, indicating she was no common archer. She must have awakened a hidden profession, but he wasn't sure if it was a high-tier one. Without hesitation, she introduces herself as Lizzie and invites Qin Feing to join their party, noting that he has a hidden class. She tried to sound friendly, but there was an underlying edge to her tone. She adds that they have experience since they just wiped out. Qin Feing laughed inwardly, noting that they were experienced in dying. He declined her offer politely but firmly, making it clear he was not interested. This made her somewhat upset, and one of her teammates chimed in, mocking Qin Feing for being arrogant just because he had a hidden class. Undeterred, Lizzie checked his in-game name and muttered it curiously. She advised her team to follow Qin Feing, convinced he must have a way to deal with the monsters. Or perhaps they were more interested in seeing how he would die. As Qin Feing walked outside the safe zone, he remembered the very first monster he encountered that was very difficult for beginners to handle. The Izzy group, still watching, compared his equipment, noting it was completely different for a beginner. One even remarked that his agility must be better, but his outfit was just different. This was more reason for Izzy to decide to follow him. Suddenly, he turned his head slightly with a serious gaze. She immediately took cover, wondering if he had actually spotted them. On the other hand, he just used one of his skills called Shadow Step. As the shadows engulfed him, he suddenly vanished out of sight. The group was surprised that he had just vanished. The assassin in the group noted it was some stealth skill, but the skill seemed overpowered. Meanwhile, Qin Feing, in stealth mode, just watched them as they decided to head back to the village in hopes of getting a mission from NPCs, noting that outside was dangerous since they had just died. Our hero was a bit surprised they couldn't see him. As expected from the shadow profession, normally stealth mode is easily detected, but shadow mode has a stealth mastery making it impossible to be spotted by players or monsters. As he continued his journey into the forest, he mocked the group, noting they were naive fools. The village is only a shelter for players, nothing more. The only way to get stronger is by hunting since the game is not designed for the weak. Then he noticed his stealth mode ending, but luckily the cooldown began immediately. He entered stealth and would be active in a few seconds. Next, he decided to check his status window, which showed his attributes from his name, tradable and non-tradable lifespan, strength, constitution, and mana. Qin Feing suddenly exclaimed, noting that players usually start with a base stat of 10 and different classes give different bonuses. Even in his previous life as a warrior, he got only a bonus in strength, but this time it's different, having bonuses in all stats. He noted that he needed to allocate his free attribute points. Most players make the mistake of dumping all in strength or mana, but this time, he transferred everything to agility and speed because agility is key in the early game. Since the monsters are stronger, what's the point of having strength if one blow can easily delete a player? He mused that it's the only way to kill monsters without taking damage. Just then, he suddenly heard a grunting sound. Spotting the monster not far away, continuously grunting as if munching on something, the system immediately informed him that the creature was a crawler. The grade was normal, and it was currently evolving. Realizing the creature was evolving, it didn't take time for him to understand that this must be the monster that wiped out the Izzy group, and it was still absorbing lifespan to evolve. However, the monster already spotted him and charged, now close to him. He noticed the wounds on the crawler, noting most of its HP was gone. Thanks to his increased agility, he quickly dodged by stepping back. While in midair, Qin Feing immediately activated his stealth skill, Shadow Step, causing him to disappear into thin air. But he was already above the crawler, which was still confused and searching for him. Out of nowhere, he delivered a crushing blow to the crawler's weak point. The system immediately informed him that he had slain the crawler, gaining 10 points in experience. However, he was a bit surprised by the insane damage to one-shot the creature. The system then informed him about his hidden skill, Backstab, which deals critical hits if the attack comes outside of the enemy's vision, which interested him. But then he paused for a moment, as if remembering something. Back when he was a warrior, it took forever to kill a crawler, and the max damage of a critical hit was 40 damage, and it was rare, creating a near-death experience for him. Not to mention, he gave the experience and rewards to his sister. But this time, it was all his as he crushed the glowing orb. The system immediately chimed in, noting he had gained 3 days of tradable lifespan and 54 years and 155 days of non-tradable lifespan. Qin Feing was somewhat disappointed, noting the crawler killed 5 players each, which should lose at least 20 years of lifespan, making 100 years. But since the creature absorbed some, he got 54 years. But he quickly dismissed it, noting non-tradable lifespan is not important at the beginning stages. Well, since fate and destiny were already on his side, the system displayed a notification about the Eye of Judgment, and he had now obtained a skill called Infinite Evolution. The system explained the skill's ability. When he kills monsters solo, he has a chance to earn evolution points to upgrade his skills. Also, every day he will gain free 5 evolution points, and defeating a boss-level monster solo guarantees evolution points. Qin Feing expressed confusion and excitement, not knowing anyone having the skill in his previous life, and normally in-game rewards were always fixed, wondering if this was the effect of a passive artifact. He didn't waste time trying out the evolution points, upgrading his Shadow Step and Backstab skills. The result was reduced cooldown and increased duration of Shadow Step. Also, breaking out of stealth increased damage, and Backstab damage increased from 10% to 15% more damage. Our hero loudly expressed excitement, noting the increased duration of Shadow Step to 16 seconds, and with his mastery of the Shadow profession, it was 32 seconds. In short, it was like he had a cheat for infinite stealth, also the possibility of using this to one-shot crawlers. Just then, his train of thought was interrupted by someone chatting loudly, adding that solo monsters are easy in the game. It turned out to be a hunting party, or rather couples, with the guy trying hard to impress the girl. Meanwhile, our hero suddenly spotted something. A creature hidden in the trees, and the guy continued trying to impress the lady further, asking if Qin Feing needed help and saying he wouldn't mind carrying him. However, he used his Shadow Step skill, muttering one name in his mind, the creature's name, Nurturer. The lady was a bit surprised that our hero just vanished while the guy talked about our hero being scared of his muscles. But the Nurturer, a giant spider, was already above them, in the process of ending the couple. Their blood ran cold, and the guy wondered about such monstrosity. The system immediately informed Qin Feing that it was a Nurturer at Bronze Grade Level 1 and accompanied by spawn spiders. While in stealth, he knew a Nurturer had 1600 health points, not something a beginner could handle, and not to mention it controlled spawns. But this was a perfect opportunity for him to try out his evolved skill, emitting out of his stealth, and using the Backstab dealt a damage multiplier. Next, he immediately entered stealth mode after dealing damage, narrowly dodging a strike. The creature screamed in pain as the system displayed that he struck the weak point, and dealt 300 points of damage. On the other hand, he realized it was a close call. Thanks to his agility, he was able to move quickly. With his low health points, one strike would be the end for him, but the damage he dealt was satisfactory. Suddenly, the Nurturer somewhat went berserk, thrashing trees in attempts to find our hero. He was impressed, noting that monsters are not dumb to sit and take damage. Even if the Nurturer was attacking indiscriminately to find him, he couldn't rush out because of the spawn soldiers that were on high alert. With this, he planned his next move. To our surprise, he decided to launch a stone at high speed towards the creature. The stone connected, dealing nearly 300 points of damage to the creature as he struck its weak point. This was within his expectation. His main damage comes from Backstab and exiting stealth, so all he had to do was throw stones at the Nurturer's weak point, while exiting stealth. The stone would trigger the ambush strike from Backstab, and he would gain bonus damage while exiting stealth. In the process, he dealt another 299 points of damage. Just like that, he followed his plan, continuously launching stones at the Nurturer using both skills and repeating the process after the skill cooldown. Suddenly, in the Shell Village, an announcement was made about the leaderboard update. Qin Feing, our boy, was the first to reach level 2 and had slain a bronze level Nurturer, causing the onlookers to be astonished. They wondered how it was possible to hunt a monster, not to mention soloing a boss-level monster. Some hoped to build a connection with him. The Izzy group expressed disbelief about Qin Feing's quick progress to level 2, wondering if it was some kind of system error since they found it difficult to even handle mobs. The couple, having respawned after being killed by the same monster, wondered if our hero was the one responsible. Next, the system displayed the rewards after defeating the creature. 300 experience, 2 evolution points, 1 reputation point, and unlocking of the leaderboard and system-wide announcement. However, Qin Feing was a bit disappointed, commenting that the small spawn disappeared the moment the boss died. He regretted not killing them first to maximize his experience. However, the system continued displaying his rewards. He gained attribute evolution points, a corrosion dagger, and most importantly, a skill book called Greedy Hand. Qin Feing was amazed. A god-tier assassin skill from a bronze boss monster. The system explained Greedy Hand. After killing a monster, it granted a 20% chance of additional loot. Qin Feing recalled someone in his previous life who had become famous for this skill despite average combat strength. A wicked yet genius idea struck him. What if he evolved the skill using infinite evolution? Could he achieve unlimited drops after defeating a boss? Elsewhere, students were on their way to school. Among them was Xian Xiao and her friend, who advised her to apologize to her brother for her recent actions. The girl had to skip tests to support her idol. Xian Xiao dismissed the idea angrily, stating that she was not at fault and that he should be the one apologizing. Their conversation continued, with her friend expressing envy at Xian Xiao's brother's care for her and inquiring about the bruises on her face. Xian Xiao brushed it off, noting that her brother was always pestering her and that she had accidentally tripped and fallen. Later, as Xian Zhao's friend, whom for some reason we don't know her name, approached their classroom, she noticed a commotion. Students were gathered around something. When she managed to get through the crowd, she discovered a student sleeping and not waking up. To her horror, the student's body seemed to be invisible, with hands passing through him like a phantom. Concerned, she asked what had happened. His friend is unsure but mentioned that he had said he wanted to take a nap, and they found him like this. Students in the background exclaimed that such cases were becoming common around the world. Experts reported that anyone who fell asleep would enter this phantom-like state. Immediately, she decided to check up on her parents and advised Xian Xiao to call her brother. But Xian Xiao refused, wishing he would just drop dead. Meanwhile, in the game, Xian Feing was busy. He had finally evolved the Greedy Hand skill, and the system displayed the evolution as successful. The skill grade was now gold, with an additional loot drop rate increased from 20% to 70%. He activated the Greedy Hand skill, gaining 2 evolution points and 46 tradable lifespan. This was great news, as he needed only 1 more evolution point to make the additional loot drop rate 100%. He noted that more players would be entering the game soon, so it was time to grind and equip the tools he could use. The system displayed that he had successfully equipped the corrosion dagger he got from the nurturer. As he walked, staring at the system panel, he pondered how long it would be before people discovered they could transfer their abilities to the real world, which would bring chaos. For that to happen, a player needed to be at level 10 and have enough tradable lifespan. His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of players hunting a monster. Arriving at a cliff, he watched from above. The system immediately informed him that the monster was a level 2 sprint predator, and at bronze level. For Xian Feing, this was perfect timing. Upon closer inspection, he noticed a man with a shield and recognized him as Wang Meng from his past life. Wang Meng had assembled a 6-man team of hidden profession players. Shifting his attention to Wang Meng, he saw him activate his skill, Holy Barrier. A golden barrier in the form of a giant shield appeared before him. Xian Feing inwardly noted that Wang Meng's hidden profession was Holy Warrior, with stats twice that of a regular warrior, and an invincible skill. The next person was a lady, a mage, as she conjured a fire spell and sent it straight to the sprint predator. Xian Feing, role-playing a commentator, explained that she was of the mage profession, with a hidden class of prophet, enabling her to deal twice the damage with magic compared to a regular mage. Next was the archer, whose hidden profession was eagle eyes, able to shoot arrows like rapid fire. There was also a healer with the hidden profession Oracle Priest, who had twice the healing power of regular healers and special group healing skills. Despite their teamwork, the monster easily dodged their combined attack. Even Wang Meng's holy barrier couldn't withstand the monstrosity, and shattered like glass. The archer expressed concern, knowing their ranged attacks were ineffective. Wang Meng, requesting healing, instructed them to continue attacking, believing they would eventually wear it down. Xian Feing noted that while the idea was not bad, Wang Meng was forgetting they were in a wild forest. If the battle dragged on, it would attract other monsters. True to his thoughts, new monsters approached. Qin Feing, without the system's help, explained that the creatures were called corruptors, not boss level, but they dealt mostly ranged attacks. Suddenly, someone the author had failed to introduce dashed towards the corruptor with a sword, hoping to prove his worth to Wang Meng. When he struck the monster, Qin Feing wondered about the guy's hidden profession. Even Qin Feing was clueless about him. The guy, surprised, realized he only dealt 33 damage and worse, couldn't pull the sword out of the monster. The corruptor spat a strange substance from its mouth. Not only did it smell bad, but it also reduced players' movement speed significantly. As it approached Wang Meng's mage, she immediately begged for help. Just then, the corruptor's head was severed with a swift motion, an obvious act of our protagonist. Everyone in the group was shocked by the instant kill. The guy, the swordsman of Wang Meng's group, expressed disbelief, noting that dealing with a level 1 crawler took 10 seconds, and now a level 2 corruptor was one shot. He hadn't even noticed the corruptor behind him. Just then, he was dumbstruck as the corruptor was easily killed. The swordsman wanted to know if he was seeing things and asked the mage, who was also confused. But Wang Meng quickly tried to regain their composure, telling them not to be distracted. The system informed Qin Feing he had gained 40 experience points for defeating the corruptors, a new skill called Venom Dart, and 1 evolution skill. He immediately realized that the Venom Dart was a mid-range skill inflicting poison, as the name suggested, and quickly evolved it, leaving the greedy hand for later. The system panel showed the new attributes of the Venom Dart. The max range was 14 meters, base attack was 120 damage, and it inflicted poison causing continuous damage of 50% for 5 seconds, which could stack up to 5 times. Suddenly, the sprint predator lunged. Wang Meng tried to block but was hit, leaving him in shock. Wang Meng groaned loudly in pain as the arm passed through his body. The archer expressed concern, and the healer, unable to heal Wang Meng immediately, watched helplessly. Coughing out blood, Wang Meng ordered his team to run away. To their surprise, a poison dart flew straight and landed on the predator's face, rendering it unable to dodge something it didn't see coming. They were even more surprised as the attack removed more than half of the boss's health. As the sprint predator let go of Wang Meng, it roared in agony before dropping to the ground, continuously losing health like a phone losing battery life. The system screen displayed that Qin Feing had killed the boss creature, and since he dealt the most damage, the loot belonged to him. He gained 900 experience points, reached level 3, gained 2 evolution points, and 55 days of tradable lifespan. Qin Feing hadn't expected the dart to trigger the stealth exiting effect, but with that in mind, he felt confident nothing would stop him from early to mid-game progress. Wang Meng, surprised by the damage, quickly collected himself and thanked whoever helped them from the shadows. Qin Feing told them there was no need for thanks, warning them not to trust someone out in the woods. With that, they left, hoping not to disturb him, but one member decided to follow him in hopes of being added as a friend, but was dragged by the other. Qin Feing knew Wang Meng was reliable, with government backing, and needed to create a sales channel to sell unused items to him. Activating the greedy hand skill while collecting the reward, the system informed him he had gained 3 evolution points, equipment from the boss monster, sprint predator leather greaves at bronze level, and 55 days of tradable lifespan. Equipping the new gear boosted his physical defense, resistance to magic, and cooldown speed. Realizing he had many equipment and skill books, he planned to sell them for lifespan once his inventory was filled. This time, his growth would be exponentially faster, and he eagerly awaited the arrival of Song Fei, the one who had wronged him in the past. The next chapter begins with another group of players hunting in the dense forest. One of the players, overwhelmed by the situation, advised that fleeing might be the best option. Suddenly, they noticed a massive monster towering over them, a boss-level creature. Expressions of confusion and horror spread across their faces as they struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. But before they could react, the monster launched a devastating attack. It rained down on the players with relentless fury, giving them no time to dodge or retreat. In an instant, they were wiped out and respawned back to the village. Frustration boiled over for one player, who lamented how the monsters attacked in packs but easily fled at low health. More troubling was the realization that reaching level 3 was essential to exit the game. Another player suggested recruiting more allies, but his partner dismissed the idea, noting that a group of 10 players had been easily wiped out. The larger the group, the higher the likelihood of attracting a boss monster. It seemed everyone was struggling to level up. Izzy was visibly frustrated, but her subordinate was more concerned about their real bodies, as they had been in the game for a while. Another player explained their dire situation. They had only 10 years of tradable lifespan left, and had died 3 times. This made Izzy understand that they mustn't die again. When she looked at the leaderboard, seeing our protagonist in first place and already at level 3, she wondered how it was possible. Realizing he must have some means of leveling up quickly, she devised a plan to seek his help to reach level 3 and exit the game. With determination, she ordered her followers to spread the word. If Qin Feing helped them get to level 3, she promised to transfer $10,000 to him in the real world. Meanwhile, our boy was busy hunting to gain experience and extra evolution points. Once he had enough, he immediately proceeded to upgrade the greedy hand skill. Previously bronze, the skill was now upgraded to platinum and then to jade, with the drop rate increasing from 110% to 160%, and most importantly, a 20% chance to get a rare item. Qin Feing noted that it was remarkable and imagined what would happen if he could increase the 20% additional rarity to 100%, or even 200%. Just then, he spotted the monstrosity that had wiped out an entire group of players. Without the system's help, he recognized it as the boss-level creature called the Damned. The system added that it was at bronze level, something he could easily handle. However, he noticed it was digesting the lifespan of players and might evolve to silver rank. The timing was bad, as his inventory was packed from hunting. If he killed the boss, he wouldn't gain equipment. Realizing the boss needed time to evolve, he marked the region and hurried to sell his items before returning to kill it. The scene transitioned to the safe zone, the Shell Village. Inside, players talked about the rumor of someone willing to pay $10,000 for our protagonist, speculating that the person must be very rich. Another person expressed concern, noting they might never leave the game. Just then, Qin Feing arrived in the village, exiting his stealth as if making a grand entrance. Without wasting time, he set up his sale channel like a stall, offering to sell good equipment with a 10-minute time limit. Some players were dumbstruck, wondering how he had bronze equipment, and planning to sell it. Another player quickly chimed in, noting he was number 1 on the leaderboard. A lady approached, and when asked why his face was hidden, another player explained it was a feature in the game since players looked the same in real life. Shifting to the lady, who was a mage, she went straight to business, asking for a spell called Ice Cone. Qin Feing simply replied it was 100 days of lifespan, realizing she was using the hide face feature and ranked 11th on the leaderboard. She expressed concern about the expense, but our hero, like a seasoned merchant, explained that the spell was great for mages, helping to clear monsters quickly, and he was already selling it at a loss for 100 days of lifespan. When she asked if she could pay in cash, Qin Feing quickly disagreed but suggested she could use the lifespan of others to compensate them in the real world. If no one offered more than her, he promised to hold the offer for her. She thought about it for a moment before deciding. Communicating with her team through a private channel, they all agreed that without the spell, it would have been difficult to reach level 2 without her help. With that, she proceeded with the transaction, earning him 100 days of tradable lifespan. Just then, the blonde finally found him, surprised by the sudden meeting. With a bit of arrogance, Izzy proudly made her offer, asking him to help her group reach level 3 in exchange for $10,000. Everyone was surprised, realizing she was the one in the rumor about offering $10,000. She continued her monologue, explaining her real-world status and her father being the president of Jiang Industry, clearly a rich kid. Qin Feing, remembering his past life, realized she was a leader of a criminal organization that treated people like trash for lifespan. With that, he coldly rejected her offer. She turned red in anger, advising him to think carefully, noting she could easily turn his life around and make him live like a king. But he was indifferent, and told her to leave if she wasn't buying anything and not disturb his business. Now becoming more arrogant, she called him trash, saying if it were real life, she would teach him a lesson. Qin Feing shifted his calm demeanor, warning her that one more word and he would reduce her lifespan to 0. Immediately, they felt the soul-sucking aura he was emitting and quickly bolted from the scene. With that, he continued his merchant business, drastically increasing his tradable lifespan to 564 days. He then closed the stall, deciding it was time to take care of the damned. At this moment, no one knew the importance of tradable lifespan and how it could bring skills and abilities to the real world. Activating his stealth ability, he knew the world they once knew would collapse, and only the strong would dictate the pace of this new world. The next chapter begins with Izzy and her group catching their breath. She couldn't believe Qin Feing had refused her offer and even went as far as threatening her. She vowed to kill him once they returned to the real world. Suddenly, they were interrupted by a stranger she had never seen before. The man introduced himself as Mao Lijun, his real name, explaining that he was at level 2. Most importantly, he claimed to know a way to reach level 3 and inquired if the $10,000 offer still stood. Izzy, arms crossed, inquired about his method of leveling up. Mao Lijun usually kept such information to himself, but he was willing to make an exception for her. He explained that the quick way to level up was to allocate the 5 initial attribute points to agility, which would help them outrun crawlers. Izzy was surprised, realizing she had spent all her attribute points on strength but decided not to reveal this to him. She dismissed the idea of Qin Feing's help, thinking Mao Lijun would be her ticket to leveling up. However, she wasn't easy to please. She noted that he wasn't as strong as the Shadow and could only offer half the money now. Once they reached level 3, he would get the rest in real life. Mao Lijun agreed, noting that Qin Feing must be foolish for turning down her offer. Elsewhere, Qin Feing exited his stealth mode in the forest. As he expected, the damned had evolved to silver rank based on the mist surrounding it. Entering stealth and readying a poison dart, he knew he could wait for it to evolve to gold rank in 8 hours but was too impatient. Exiting stealth, he threw the poison dart, dealing 659 damage. The damned screeched in pain as the poison caused it to continuously lose health. Qin Feing didn't waste time and re-entered stealth. He explained that a silver rank boss had health 2 or 3 times that of a bronze rank. The damned charged an attack, preparing to strike. The strike turned out to be an area attack. Qin Feing noted it would take 2 or 3 more darts to finish it. Managing to dodge the damned's attack, he realized it was a close call, as the damned dealt magic damage with its area attack. With his low health and resistance, he barely dodged the next attack. The damned launched another area magical attack. As he dodged, Qin Feing decided to use the same plan he devised when facing the Nurturer, only this time he had to wait. Then he noticed the damned was a bit null after the attack. Seizing the opportunity, he dashed towards the damned and launched another poison dart straight at its weak point while breaking out of stealth. The creature screeched in pain again as it continuously lost health from the poison. With low health, the damned tried to flee, but Qin Feing knew it was pointless. Disappearing once more, he delivered a final, crushing blow to the damned's weak point, ending it in the process. The system panel displayed that he had killed the damned of silver rank, gaining 1,800 experience points, and reaching level 5. He also got 4 evolution points and 124 days of tradable lifespan. Qin Feing couldn't believe he had leveled up twice in one go. Before collecting the loot, he used the greedy hand skill and doubled his evolution points and tradable lifespan. Realizing he had gotten twice the reward from a silver boss, he was about to process this when the system panel displayed the passives of the greedy hand, upgrading his equipment from silver to gold rank. Just as expected from the skill's 20% chance of increasing loot rank. Additionally, thanks to the greedy hand, he received extra loot items. With only 10 slots in his inventory while there were 8 equipment, it would be a hassle in the future, and he hoped to find a storage ring or something similar. Before we can find out what gold rank equipment he received, the scene shifts to Shell Village. Wang Meng's mage expressed relief that they had survived and returned to the village, all at level 3. His team praised his leadership, but he downplayed it, noting it was a group effort. She pouted like a kid, unable to add Qin Feing as a friend. She believes it was probably because she smelled bad after the corruptor attack, but the guy noted it wasn't the case. Before he could finish his statement, the leaderboard updated, placing Qin Feing at level 5. Wang Meng and his team were bewildered, noting that just 10 minutes ago, Qin Feing had sold items at level 3. How was he now at level 5? The black-haired member thought of offering his sister, who had just turned 18, in exchange for leveling up. But how could a guy who rejected $10,000 possibly be interested in his sister? The archer of Wang Meng's team wanted to know how they could live. UT wasn't fair to them, as they had to grind hard to reach level 3. However, Wang Meng pointed out the important matter, They needed to head to the real world and inform their families about the game. As they logged off, they knew the real world must be in chaos depending on what was happening. The next moment, Wang Meng held his face as if waking from a long nightmare. Before anything could happen, he noted his brother in arms expressing relief that he was finally awake, explaining how he had previously been in a phantom state. This was all new to Wang Meng, but something more important was happening. He immediately ordered everyone to gather because something major was unfolding.